The Shlushu Aphilus Reserve in South Africa was once home to powerful elephant herds, but over the years, increasing poaching, drought, and infectious diseases have severely decimated the population of these ancient giants. Now only one young female elephant survives in this vast land, Amara. Walking alone but determinedly, she was a beacon of hope for the rangers. They believed she could be the start of a new herd. Amara's movements were carefully monitored with a GPS transmitter attached to her neck and hidden cameras placed throughout the area. Despite her young age, Amara was both intelligent and resilient. She would often forage alone in the early morning or at dusk. Observations showed that she always steered her course towards safety, driven by an innate instinct. One morning, while reviewing the footage, the conservation team came across a striking sign. Amara's abdomen was visibly swollen. She was pregnant for the first time. This news both excited and worried the conservation team, as she had no other elephants around to support her. Female elephants usually assist each other during the birthing process. However, Amara would go through it alone. This particular task was assigned to Joseph, the experienced head ranger. Joseph was tasked with monitoring Amara's pregnancy and identifying potential risks. The team initiated a long-term remote monitoring plan. During the first 4 months, Amara began to move less than usual. She spent most of her days lying motionless in the thick reeds. Camera footage revealed that her belly was much larger than in previous pregnancies. Joseph instinctively suspected this was no ordinary pregnancy. Amara was likely carrying more than one calf. Amara was digging new burrows almost daily, shifting her sleeping position by curling her trunk in different ways, and seemed to be searching for a suitable birthing site. These behaviors signaled an impending birth. And one morning, her GPS transmitter emitted an unusual signal. Amara hadn't moved for a full 18 hours. The rangers, noticing unusual inactivity in the GPS signal, immediately sent a low-altitude drone to monitor Amara's location. The image on the screen gripped the hearts of everyone on the team. Amara, breathing heavily in the darkness. Her massive body was curled up on the ground, digging into the soil with her trunk, occasionally groaning softly. Her muscles were trembling, her eyes half closed. It was clear she was in excruciating pain. Chief Ranger Joseph and experienced veterinarian Zandandi immediately set out to provide emergency medical care. They packed obstetric kits, emergency medications, and portable surgical equipment. Deep in Africa, the sky was darkening. A light rain fell, distant thunder echoed, and the occasional crackle of lightning rose from the jungle. As the vehicle sank into the mud, its headlights parted the undergrowth to reach the clearing where Amara lay. The sight was horrific. Amara had fallen onto her side, her belly covered in blood. Her entire body was shaking, her trunk occasionally twitching. As Joseph got out of the car, he paused for a moment. 3 tiny elephant calves stood trembling near their mother. They had just been born. Their fur was wet, their eyes barely open, but Amara's eyes were too tired to rejoice in this miracle. She was bleeding profusely. Her body was on the verge of collapse. Zandandi knelt down, quickly checked her pulse, and then turned to Joseph. The labor isn't complete yet. There's still a calf in the womb, but Amara's energy is spent. She immediately prepared the uterine stimulant drug, number 4. In such situations, it's necessary to speed up labor while also maintaining the mother's heart rate. Joseph radioed the center, and emergency authorization arrived within 3 to 10 minutes. Zandandi carefully approached Amara's rear end. With a delicate movement, she injected the drug into her hip. She tried to calm her by speaking softly. "You are strong, Amara. You must fight for these calves." Amara whimpered but didn't attack. She was conscious. Her eyes understood that these people wanted to help. Her instincts told her to trust. About 20 minutes later, Amara's entire body trembled with powerful contractions. Then the 4th calf was born. The 5th followed, much smaller than the previous ones, almost a miniature elephant. Her breathing was labored. Tears welled up in Zandandi's eyes. As she reached out her hands to the mud-covered calf, her voice trembled. "So many calves. We've never seen a birth like this on this reserve before." But the birth wasn't over yet. When the 6th calf was born, the team couldn't believe their eyes. Amara's body had lost almost all its strength. She couldn't lift her head, couldn't even breathe deeply. Her enormous, proud trunk now slumped wearily to the ground. The heavy blood loss was silently weakening her. The miraculous joy of birth had given way to fear. One of 6, she was motionless. Her small body didn't move, her chest didn't rise or fall. Her belly was flat. There was no breathing. Joseph knelt down and embraced the tiny elephant. Her dark gray skin hadn't yet dried. Her eyes were soft but determined. She had no intention of losing this new life. "No, we can't lose you," she murmured. In that moment, a battle to save every life, including her mother, had begun. Zandandi wasted no time. She began applying rhythmic, careful pressure to the little elephant's chest. This technique was a special form of massage developed for artificial respiration in elephants. She checked her heart rate with her fingers, trying to feel her pulse. At the same time, Joseph was lifting Amar's body from the wet earth, placing sheets under her, and preparing intravenous fluids. He attached a large bag of fluids near the hose and slowly infused it into her. Time seemed to stand still. A minute passed like an age. Then, the little elephant stirred almost imperceptibly. She let out a tiny breath. The team took a deep breath. They looked at each other, their eyes communicating, but they couldn't stop. The danger wasn't over yet. Amar was still unconscious. Her eyes were closed, her chest rising and falling very slowly. Zandandi switched her to cardiac stimulation medication. She injected a dose intravenously, then wrapped warm blankets around her abdomen. Meanwhile, 2 of the 6 babies were showing clear signs of weakness. They couldn't stand, couldn't crawl, or reach their mother's body. Their body temperatures were dropping rapidly. Zandandi made a decision. "We have to get these 2 to the urgent care center. Otherwise, they have no chance of survival." Joseph quickly removed his coats and wrapped them around the tiny cubs. He carefully placed them in a special cage lined with a thermal pad. He carefully placed the other 4 cubs near Amar's body, her slowly warming belly. Night was giving way to morning. The rain had stopped, and the first rays of sunlight had begun to make the grass where Amar lay glow like gold. A groan rose in the silence, a faint but hopeful sound. "Amara," she groaned. Then her eyes opened. She lifted her head slightly. Her eyes scanned the surroundings, as if searching for her cubs. Amara slowly turned her head and extended her trunk to one of the calves curled up beside her as she touched it gently, then licked it with the tip of her trunk. The touch was a silent but powerful display of maternal instinct. Then a deep, soothing sound rose from her throat, the low-pitched whine elephants used to call their calves. The conservation team quietly retreated. No one made a sound, no flashes went off. Amar's peace was as vital as the calves themselves. Meanwhile, the emergency helicopter carrying the 2 feeble calves took off for the rescue center 30 kilometers away. This remarkable birth of 6 calves was one of the first and most challenging in the reserve's history, but the crisis had passed. On the 3rd day, cameras stationed on the site captured a hopeful image. Amara was on her feet. She was walking slowly across the grassy area. Her body was still weak, but her gaze was alert. She called constantly in a low tone, raising her trunk in the air, as if searching for her lost calves. It was as if she knew where they were, but counted 2 missing. Joseph sighed deeply as he watched the cameras. Mara. She remembers all 6, she counts. At the rescue center, 2 weak cubs were being carefully cared for. They were named Lumo and S.A. They were still very young, their eyes were closed, and their sucking reflexes were weak. They were fed special supplemental milk instead of breast milk. They required round-the-clock care, and their body temperature had to be kept stable. Zandandi, in communication with the other team, made a note. If they make it through the first 7 days without getting sick, their chances of survival are high. By the 6th day, both of them began to respond to sounds and twitch their ears. Their eyes were slowly opening, giving them their first glimpse of the outside world. Joseph, watching them closely, decided, it's time. They must return to their mother. The team brought in old blankets and towels collected from the areas where Amara had lain down in previous days. The scent of their mother, permeated by these fabrics, was a vital connection for the cubs. Lumo and S.A. wrapped themselves in these towels. The vehicle set off toward the grassy field at dusk. As the evening chill settled, the vehicle reached the clearing where Amara was. Before the headlights went off, Amara looked up. She knew who it was. Joseph gently placed the cubs on the ground. Lumo and Esse moved feebly across the grass. Amara approached, sniffing the two. Then she extended her trunk and gently licked each of their foreheads in turn. There was no roar, no sign of unease, just silent acceptance and pure maternal joy. Amara's eyes filled with tears. It was as if her six-piece heart had been reunited. The team was silent. No one spoke. Tears streamed down her cheeks as they witnessed this miraculous moment unfolding in the midst of this wilderness. Reunited with her six cubs, Amara had become not only a mother, but also a living symbol of nature's power, loyalty, and hope. Amara's birth of six cubs went viral after being shared on the Conservation Center's social media accounts. International wildlife organizations supported this extraordinary story, launching fundraisers. The funds allowed for the creation of a larger protected area for Amara's family's safety. Scientists confirmed that this birth was one of the rarest recorded events for the species. The healthy birth of six elephant calves, the achievement of a young female living alone, inspired wildlife research worldwide. Amara was no longer just an elephant. She was a new hope for the wild, a symbol of resilience. Shortly afterward, a documentary crew from Germany arrived at the conservation site to interview Joseph, Zandandi, and the entire team. Every word told on camera was laced with pride on their faces. The documentary brought Amara's story to millions. Amara's cubs began to adapt to nature in a healthy way. As they grew, they explored their own territory and learned to hunt instinctively. Over time, they drifted away from their mother, but their bond never broke. Lumo and Esse, once the weakest cubs, were now among the strongest. They were like guardians of the herd. Each carried biolocation devices to monitor their natural behavior and health. That afternoon, Joseph climbed one of the reserve's hills. His eyes fell on the grassy valley. Amara lay in the red glow of the sun with her six cubs. Her eyes were closed, but her ears were alert. A gentle breeze blew. In the distance, the muffled but resolute moan of a young elephant echoed through the savannah. Zandandi approached him, touched his shoulder, and whispered, "We saved a generation." Joseph smiled. Tears welled up in her eyes, but the faith within her was radiant. This was a miracle that began with a single mother, a life that blossomed with determination, patience, and faith. This was a rebirth born in the heart of Africa. It began with the silent walk of an elephant and transformed into the salvation of a generation. My dear friend, thank you for taking the time to share this extraordinary story with us. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. See you again in the next episodes. Stay with nature.